Hey everyone, I hope you guys are all doing well today. With Valentine's Day passing by last weekend, let's talk about a movie that's all about a relationship. I have just one question for everyone. What's the deepest movie you've ever seen? Meaning, what movie touched you on such a deep level to the point where you felt the same emotions of the movie's main characters, as if you were placed in their shoes? While I can name a few films off the top of my head where I experienced this, no film has ever touched me on such a deep level as Nocturnal Animals. In this video, I'm going to break down why Nocturnal Animals is a layered masterpiece crafted by the underrated director and well-known fashion designer Tom Ford. And beware, if you have not seen Nocturnal Animals yet, I'm going to be going into some spoilers, so go ahead, watch the movie first, and then come back and watch this video. Alright, let's get right into Tom Ford's layered masterpiece, Nocturnal Animals. The story of Nocturnal Animals follows Susan Morrow, played by Amy Adams, an art gallery owner who is married to businessman Hutton Morrow. Unfortunately, Hutton is a very unfaithful husband, frequently lying to Susan about his whereabouts and who he's with. Luckily, Susan is not completely oblivious to this fact as she's become aware of his unfaithfulness over time. Still, that doesn't change Susan's loneliness and depression. One day, though, Susan receives a manuscript for a novel dedicated to her written by her ex-husband, Edward Sheffield, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Over the course of multiple days, Susan can't take her eyes off of Edward's book, reading it constantly without much stoppage. We then go to the book, which begins by introducing Tony Hastings, also played by Jake Gyllenhaal, a family man who takes his wife and daughter on a road trip through West Texas to an unknown destination. But along the way, the family encounter three men looking to stir up some trouble, and they proceed to run their car off the road. Things get pretty ugly fast as Tony's wife and daughter are kidnapped, raped, and killed by the three men. This leads to Tony seeking revenge, and the rest of the book focuses on Tony partnering with Detective Bobby Andes, played by Michael Shannon. The third story of Nocturnal Animals revolves around a series of flashbacks where we see the beginning of Edward and Susan's relationship as well as their eventual breakup. In order to understand the meaning of the film's book, let's look at what happened between Edward and Susan's relationship before their divorce. As a writer, Edward struggled mightily to come up with any compelling writing material early in their marriage. Or at least compelling in Susan's eyes. And in an even earlier flashback, Susan's mother warned her that Edward is not a good fit for Susan, believing Edward lacked the drive to succeed and that Susan needed someone who can provide her with more material things. But of course, Susan did not listen and they got married. Though the movie doesn't tell us how long they were married for. It skips right to when their marriage fell apart, as Susan tried explaining to Edward that she wanted a more structured life and future. It becomes clear here that she fell out of love with Edward because he was unable to provide her the luxurious life she was seeking. To her, Edward's looks and personality did not matter anymore. It was all about the material things Edward could not provide at the time. To make matters worse, just as Edward held a little glimpse of hope of saving their marriage, he caught Susan with her future husband, Hutton. Except he caught them right outside of an abortion clinic. Unfortunately, Susan had an abortion to end any attachment to Edward. Devastated by the news, Edward made it clear he was officially done with Susan. So how does this connect to the book? Well, in the book, after seeking justice for nearly a year, Tony and Bobby take matters into their own hands by abducting two of the men responsible for the murder of Tony's wife and daughter, with the third man already dead. Eventually, Bobby kills one of the men while Tony tracks down Ray, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. During their final encounter, Tony shoots Ray dead, but Ray seriously injures Tony. Unfortunately for Tony, he succumbs to a brain hemorrhage and mistakenly shoots himself dead. And this is where the novel ends. So what does this all mean? Time to explain. The book is reminiscent of Edward and Susan's relationship. The death of Tony's wife and daughter in the book resemble the death of Edward and Susan's relationship as well as their child. Edward lost his wife to divorce and his kid to abortion, just as Tony lost his wife and daughter to murder. What about the significance of Tony's death in the novel? This most likely resembles the final piece of Edward that was still in love with Susan but is now dead once and for all. So the whole point of the book is to let Susan know just exactly how she made Edward feel when their relationship crumbled. As for the meaning of Michael Shannon's character, I guess Edward just wanted to write an awesome character for the hell of it. The novel is extremely entertaining anyway. If the movie was only about the novel, I would be really happy still. Edward isn't such a terrible writer after all. Overall though, I think part 1 of Edward's revenge plot succeeds, but wait, there's more. Part 1 of Edward's revenge plot is a success. Susan now understands the suffering Edward went through after their painful divorce. But Part 2 of Edward's revenge plot is even more brutal. And no, he doesn't kill her. The trailer wanted us to think Edward would do this, but no, not all revenge has to do with killing. This is why I consider this movie so deep. All the cards are on the table right here. So Edward invites Susan out to dinner, and Susan, being so lonely, accepts immediately. This action by Edward gives Susan hope that maybe she can turn her miserable life around with Edward back in the picture. By now it becomes clear she knows she made a huge mistake leaving Edward for Hutton and aborting their child. So by the evening, Susan arrives at the restaurant for dinner to meet Edward, and she waits and waits and waits and waits. She waits so long that the restaurant is nearly empty and almost closed for the night. And just when you think Edward is coming, he never shows up. And that's when the movie ends. The first time I saw Nocturnal Animals, I hated the ending. I thought it was uneventful and pointless, but once I did some research and thought more and more about the movie, I started to love the ending of Nocturnal Animals. In this film's finale, Susan gets mentally burned. She now has no hope for her future. Talk about belittling someone. Edward has managed to make Susan feel completely meaningless while also shedding light on how she made him feel years ago. And let me add that their roles have changed. Edward is now the success story while Susan is a failure. This message cuts so deep that I can truly feel the pain of Susan by the film's end. And nothing is worse than knowing that your life has zero meaning. Lastly, the structure of Nocturnal Animals subverts all expectations one may have had for the film. The story within a story design makes every viewing feel so refreshing. I truly can't name a single film that feels even remotely close to the three-part story of Nocturnal Animals. Seriously, how many times have you seen a film where it's a story within a story, and not only does the novel have so much weight, but the real-life story does too? Edward Scissorhands is one exception because, as it turns out, the old woman reading the book is actually Kim, who lived the real-life story she reads to her granddaughter. She's not a meaningless person who's only there for exposition. What makes Nocturnal Animals even more unique, though, is how 3 plots are integral to the main story and well worth anyone's investment. The entire movie is about Susan and Edward's relationship. The past is needed to show us why they fell apart, the present gives us an idea of where they are now, and the novel tells us how painful their divorce was for Edward. It's terrifically executed, and I have trouble deciding what part of the story I like the most. But if I had to choose, I would pick the novel, mainly because there are some really satisfying sequences, and I've always been a sucker for a good revenge story. Because it's not like the film doesn't at least have one revenge-filled scene. Plus, the novel is basically a modern-day western. The flow of the film feels so natural too, despite jumping back and forth between the present, past, and the novel on several occasions. Tom Ford's direction and the film's editing deserve more praise. I want to give a huge thanks to all of you guys who stuck around to watch this entire video analysis. I've been planning this video for close to a year, but never got around to it until now. If you watched the entire video, I really appreciate it. Nocturnal Animals is one of my favorite movies. It's extremely underrated and deserves more recognition. I think by now, it's without question my favorite movie of 2016, a year that also had films like La La Land, Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, and Deepwater Horizon. Of course though, if you are new here, click that subscribe button. I do video essays, movie reviews, rankings, and so much more. I love doing video essays, so I hope I can bring more content like this to you guys very soon. Once again though, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. I hope everyone is doing amazing and have a fantastic day.